All right, welcome everybody to today's live. I am thrilled to be once again with the infamous Elizabeth Rosang out of Sacramento, California, specifically Woodland, California. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you, Karen?
I am good. You and I had a short Facebook Live back in May, and a lot has happened. And I just really felt that you had such an inspirational story of where you've been. We had some people write in that wanted to hear the full story. And so I thought that this would be a perfect day to do that. So thank you for your time today.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And that's really kind that people want to hear my story. I hope that it helps.
You know?
Yeah.
As women, you know, sometimes we struggle or we have mind chatter and we are telling ourselves things that aren't true about our success or where we can go, where we can go. Hey, I've created a new word, you know, in our business, in our lives. And so I just really want to hand it over to you a little bit and ask you, you know, tell folks where, you know, we met you, what, six, 7 months ago, something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And you had really been through it last year. Would you mind sharing kind of like what you've been through? Because it's going to inspire somebody. It inspires me.
All right. When I came to you, I had a rough year, like real rough.
Yeah.
It was one of those years where I just was like, all right. So 2020 has been my 2019 for most other people. My car was falling apart. I had to leave I didn't have enough income to keep the rent going where I was. So I had to move in with my sister for a little while and then get a co-signer for a teeny tiny little apartment that like it had windows on one side. That's it. 528 square feet. I felt like I was in a hotel or a motel, like those ones where you can walk, people were walking right by your window. And it was fine. And it was so wonderful to get into that because that was better than being at my sister's, bless her heart, loved being there. But just to have my own space with my daughter was just so like, okay, all right, I can breathe again.
You'd gone through a divorce or something, right?
Right. I had gone through a divorce. I finished the divorce in 2019. And just kind of everything was going crazy. Like, or I don't know, felt crazy to me. It felt chaotic.
Yeah.
And I've been going to therapy for a long time, and that's always been helpful. So I recommend that to people. Don't discount that.
Right.
But this program was a big, was kind of what I needed as both. It had the mindset and it had the how-tos for real estate. So I've only had my license now for 3 years. I got it in 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21 will be. So I guess at 4. But the first year was like nothing, which it happens. The second year was really good, really good. I did over $100,000 gross commission.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, good, I can do this. When that kind of spurred me to go ahead and get divorced, I think, because it was like, I can do this. I can do this.
Money. I don't need
like, oh, we can actually do this. We can split and we can be okay. And I don't regret it.
Yeah.
But I underestimated the impact that would have.
Yeah.
Of that. And so then the rest of my year kind of just went like, it just fell off a cliff, you know, just down. And
it happens.
It happens. So that's I don't have to go into the main part of it. Or like, that's the main part of it. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. That was enough. My God.
Oh my God.
It's just life is thrown up in your face, and then COVID hit, right? So you came to us right before COVID.
Right before COVID hit. So I'm like, okay, I've got my apartment. I'm doing this. Yes, I've got a co-signer, but I can do this. I have support. I've got people. I can do this. And so I'm signed up for the program. And I was really excited. I talked to Sparkle. I watched your video that you did with her about mindset. And I was like, okay. And really what resonated with me with your original, when I first saw you, was one of it's making women wealthy. And of course there's men in the program too, but really you're targeting towards women in real estate and wealthy, which that is who I am.
Yeah.
I just have to live into it. And then that you were talking about not door knocking and not cold calling.
Yeah.
That there was something else. I was like, okay, well, what is this? Because this is what I need. And I watched a couple of your little videos, and then I talked to Sparkle and watched some more. And I was like, yep, I'm in. I'm doing it. It was scary. It was a lot of money, but I was like, I'm doing it. Like I think I need to do this. And I did it, and I didn't tell anybody that I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody that I signed up. I didn't tell my broker. I didn't tell my sister. I didn't tell anybody, because I'm like, this is a huge investment. And if it doesn't pay off, I don't want them to know.
Trouble. They're all going to shame me and judge me, and oh my gosh.
Right. I'm like, I am not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to show up for these calls. And it was so amazing. The very first Monday morning meditation mindset, mindset, I actually listened to it this morning.
Did you really?
I did.
That's crazy.
Because it's so good no matter where you are.
That's right.
It's talking about, the world's revolving just fine without your help.
Yeah.
Your heart's beating just fine without your help. And then the way you lead through the visualization of where do you want to be in 120 days?
Yeah.
What does that look like? What does that smell like? That really resonates with me at a deep level. Right. And so anyway, I listened to it. I love it. And then the program itself, with the celebrations, with the specific, changing my voicemail, that was really hard to do.
That's empowering, right?
Oh, it is. It's one of the very first things that you do.
Boundaries around my life and my business?
Right? Like, I don't have to answer the phone every single time it calls.
Yes.
Like, we really get programmed to think that we have to. And
the industry programs us.
It does.
I mean, we're put into this pot with all these other agents, and you've got people teaching real estate, nothing against them, good-hearted people, but that are teaching it like they did in the 1920s. Right. And it's like, no, that I refuse to agree that this is who I am. I am not available 24/7, nor do I want to be. I have a family, I have a child, and I have a business. The attorneys, my doctors, they're not available 24/7. So I know exactly what you mean. I could go on forever, but anyway, this is your show.
No, it is. It very much is. And for the clients you're actively working with in an escrow, if there's a fire, if they, you have a set cadence with them. And if something happens, they call you at a weird time, I'll probably answer. But it has to be, it's like, it's not just every call. It's not just every person that comes through. It's, if there's a real emergency, I'm there. But most real emergencies, you call 911.
That's right.
You don't call your realtor.
So many times there are no real estate emergencies. Right? If it's a real emergency, they're going to call 911. They don't need to be calling you, Right. So, and usually they will figure it out by the time you get back to them. Tip everyone, by the time you get back to them, they've got it figured out. They've called somebody else. We don't have to be reactionary at every moment with escrows, with new clients or leads or anything. Just give them some time. Sometimes, and we don't have to be negotiating deals at 10 o'clock at night. It may also give time for another contract to come in. We don't know. Right. So you had some great results, right? You had, in the beginning, you had what was it? 3 closings, 5. Tell me the numbers. I don't want to lie about this. I want it to be.
Yeah, no, and I'm not very good at remembering them, but I've looked at them right before I came on the call. I had 6 closings in June.
6 closings in June.
Right. So I think the time that you're talking about, the call that I was on, was when I was like, oh my God, I've already closed 3 and I've got 5 more in escrow right now. They're going to, if these go through, I think that was the call, the celebration that I was on. I'm like, oh, it's working.
That's right.
It's doing it.
That's right. Exactly. And that's where those celebrations come in. You started to allude to it. You're on these calls with everybody of different, they're in different places in their business.
Right.
And you were listening to other people have these celebrations week after week after week, different agents around North America. And you're like, gosh, I'm not feeling it, or I don't know, I'm putting words in your mouth. It hasn't happened for me yet.
It hadn't happened for me yet. And one of the things that you say is you're listening to your future.
Yes.
And I know it's not just you that says that, but it's one of those things that within the celebrations, it was like, no, that what they're talking about, that's going to happen for me too. So just hang in here.
That's right.
It didn't start, it wasn't right away that, it wasn't like I got a deal the next day. What did happen like the next day or the next week was that COVID hit, and watching, being in the program was a lifesaver at that point, I think, because I got to hear how everybody else in the country was responding to it.
Yes.
And not just trying to see what was happening in my little corner of the street, like really what's going on in the whole country.
That's
and
right.
North America, because you have people in other places too, but just to have that feeling of like, oh, we really are all trying to figure this out at the same time. Nobody's got a jump on it. Nobody's got it figured out any more than I do, other than just some people that are a different space in their business than I am.
Yes.
And it was so helpful to hear the successes and the failures and the celebrations, and to have these tools to work. You guys were right on it with, okay, we have to do virtual open houses and how to do them, and step by step on how to do them. Here's how you do them. Here's what you do. And it was so great to be in that space where it wasn't just it wasn't just the people that were coming in to learn that were learning. We were learning along with your team.
Yeah.
And with you on like, oh, how do we respond to this? And to see it in action on such a large scale affecting everybody it was really inspiring. It was really, really great.
It was for all of us. I mean, we're sitting there in all of a sudden this fear of, oh gosh, what do we do? And the collaboration of the team on, this is what we do, and this is what we have to do, and we're moving forward. We're not stopping. And you and some of the other agents that went through, at that time, number one, super close-knit family. Super.
Yeah.
And we had that anyway, but it was even more so then.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys were like, you showed up, you did whatever we told you, with blinders on again, just like, I'm just going to do it. And the results that came out of that in a pandemic, no one would have ever imagined. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to share what your result was, and then actually the thing that got you there.
Okay.
You'll share the
I'll
thing,
share. Okay.
Yeah, you'll share because I don't know. But in 6 months' time, you did $131,000.
Right.
6
In
months'
first
time.
commissions.
Yes. And that was coming to us with, you were in a place you and I always talk about, before I got into real estate, I had nowhere to go but up. I was on the floor in the fetal position, crying, going, I have made a mess of my life. I'm a homeless single mother, and I am living in the basement with no money for food, and people are feeding me and my son. And my son's looking at me like, can we have something besides ramen noodles tonight, and feeling like such a failure. But you had a similar, anyway, that was your result. Tell how, I know you wanted to share, that was one of the things you wanted to share, was what's that one thing that you feel really got you here?
Oh, really the one thing is mindset. Like that is the key. And I know people say it's out in the news or it's out on Facebook. I see it a lot, but that doesn't mean everybody sees it.
No.
It's out there, but it's that mindset is everything. Okay, fine. But what is mindset? What does that even mean? It's the belief system that we have about ourselves and about the world around us. Yeah. And looking our fears in the face and not ignoring them.
Right.
But looking at them and saying, okay, I see you.
And even seeing that you have a fear that you didn't even know you had.
Right. Recognizing what's stopping you is your fears. Taking the time to process through and say, okay, I'm afraid to call people because I'm afraid of rejection.
Right.
To actually put that name on it and then think, oh, well, what's the worst that could happen? They say no. Well, of course we know that, but in the moment, it can really be paralyzing if you don't take the time to walk through it. And that's where your mindset coaches are so integral to this process, because you have us do this list of things, but we come up against our own barriers. It's not a physical barrier. It's not, the internet's working, the mail's working, the phones are working. Yes, we can't go out and talk to people and shake hands, but we can still communicate. We are not stuck in, the Middle Ages where you can only talk to your neighbor next door.
That's right.
We really are in this space of virtual working. And, but we still hit up against these internal barriers, these internal beliefs about who we are and where we came from. And, like I'm smart. I can figure things out. I can figure it out. I can do it, but then to do it over and over again, and to do it when I'm, you know, to look at it like, okay, I've got this fear. What do I do? And then your coaches, and I'm sure you've worked with it, but I worked with your coaches on it, was, okay, what do you do with that fear? Okay, you have it, but now what? You put it, you know, you look at it in the face, put it in the back seat. For me, I've had to go and do a whole bunch more because it opened up a whole can of worms. I'm like, all right.
Nobody wants to hear that. We open the can of worms, we throw it away, we're done. You are cured for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I wish that was the case.
I know, but it's always,
we're that next level.
We're always evolving. We're always going up to that next level. And that's why you have multiple levels of programs too. I don't know how much you advertise, but it's just to have that, you've got that main, you know, this entry, like you come in and you're loved and loved up every single week, twice a week, live phone calls with Karen and her team. And then you've got, you learn so much from the other agents too. Yeah. You learn you learn from the questions that they give you. Yeah. You know, like, not that they give you, but I hear their questions to you, hear your response. And I'm like,
you didn't even know that was a question to ask. You know, most people are like, I didn't even think to ask that, but my God, how much I learned by them asking that.
Right. They ask the question and I get to hear the answers to their questions. And whether it was in the mindset room or in the main room or in the real estate room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like wherever it was always like, oh, I'm so glad I came to the call today. Like, and I was religious about coming. I had it marked off in my calendar. I'm like, I am showing up every day.
Absolutely. And good point. Let me just point this out because I see it every day. It is not a mystery how agents are successful in our program. It's when you show up and you don't feel like it and you don't want to, maybe you don't feel good and you're like, ugh, but the moment you do, and Elizabeth, you showed up, you don't even know if you're going to implement what you hear. You're not quite sure. You're like, ugh, yeah, okay, maybe. Or, wow, yes, this is going to be great. But just showing up, that's when we have this, and I've mentioned it before, we have this gift sometimes that we give to our agents, and it's called business out of the blue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, I know that one. You're like, I know that one.
Yeah, well, it's like you get a call out, and you can't tie it back to anything specific that you did. And that's the thing. You can't tie it back to, you can't say it was a referral. You can't say it was from your advertising. You don't know what it was, but here it is. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. And then another, and another, and another. And all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing? You're showing up. Yeah. That's all you did was show up. And this focus, this mindset shift, this openness to receive what I'll call the blessing, you know, right, of just financial flow just keeps coming. Isn't that crazy?
It's wonderful. It's really good.
Because it's wonderful because you got to move out of your apartment into your beautiful townhome.
I did.
That you're now in, and you and your daughter are thriving, you know, just how things change.
Yeah, what's next? I think I'll stay here for a little while because I like it a whole lot. The natural light. Like we talk about natural light in our ads, you know, a lot of our homes that we have great natural light, but to go from a place that really had almost no natural light. I mean, it did, but it was just not, it was one direction. And to have it coming in from multiple directions, I'm like,
I have windows everywhere.
It is such a small place.
You are wealthy in more ways than one. You are wealthy in money and business and family and love and so many things because you did the work and you showed up. And we just love you, and we're just so glad you're a continued part of our family.
Thank you. Love you, Karen. Thank you so much for having the program and having me on.
You are so welcome. If anybody, you know how we work, if anybody has referrals, please, in the Sacramento area, I'm just going to say the Sacramento area because you can handle it. And if you have any referrals for Elizabeth, I want you to reach out to her. And Elizabeth, what's the best way for them to do that for you?
Well, my email is probably the best way, liz@cashcreekrealty.com, and that's Liz at cash, C-A-C-H-E, and then creek, C-R-E-E-K, realty, REALTY.com.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And guys, again, if you just want to know more, you're just like, I don't know if this is a fit for me. I don't know if I can do the work. You can just get more information at the website, KarenCoffey.com, or you can watch our presentation, KarenCoffey.com/making agents wealthy. And we talk about 5 things you can do today to make 100K in 100 days. And that is something that I want for you. I want with all my heart. I want to empower you as a woman. And if you're a man, give this to a woman and empower her to make the kind of life that she wants to make, because that's our heart more than anything. And Elizabeth, it's always a joy. Good to talk to you.
Nice to see you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.